Carl Jung said, "Awaken and shine your light for others to follow. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." This is an invitation to move differently in the world, to operate from a place of deep knowing and alignment. I'm Adrienne McDonald, and welcome to the Source Code Podcast. Let's dive in. Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome back. Today we are talking about something I believe is no longer optional, especially in the times that we're living in, and that is developing a relationship and trusting in your intuition. And I'm going to look at this through the energy of Gate 51. When this episode drops, the sun will be transiting through Gate 51 later in the day and then for about 6 days. And Gate 51 is known as the Gate of Shock or the Initiator, which so happens to be my North Node in Human Design. So I do know a little bit about shock. And I know what it's like to have your life rearranged in a moment. And I've had a couple of those in my life. The top of mind, one that comes up is when I was 17, my father was killed in a car wreck. So that definitely was a shock and a life-changing experience. And what I feel like now, as I've gotten older and as I've done more work, is when you develop a strong connection with your intuition, you learn you can choose to react from fear or respond from intuition. And we're going to talk about what intuition is, why it matters more than ever, how it feels for the different authority types in human design, and I'll give you some 5 practices you can start using today to really start consciously developing that tap in to your own intuitive voice. So why does intuition matter now than ever? Well, we live in a time where the sheer volume of the external world is super, super loud, louder than ever. Everybody has an opinion. There's constant noise. Everybody has this pressure to stay connected all the time, pressure to respond, to decide, to take a side in whatever issue is of the day. And it's really easy to get pulled into this whirlwind of shouldas and couldas and scarcity. And we just had Neptune move into Aries this past week. And Neptune in Aries is asking something really radical of us. And that's the opportunity to really embody our spirituality, to take intuitive action, to trust what we feel and sense before it makes logical sense. Now, this isn't the floaty, disconnected Neptune of the past. When Neptune's in Pisces, it's a lot more floaty. This is Neptune saying, okay, you got to walk it, you got to live it, you got to be it, and your intuition should be your compass right now. And Neptune's going to be in Aries for about 14 years. And I was listening to, I think it was Adam Ellenboss, talk about the fact that Neptune in Aries is sacred warrior type energy in its gift. I think in the shadow is more gives the, religious zealot type energy. So, there's a shadow and a gift to every type of archetype. And I think that if you're listening to this show in particular, you want to stay in the gift. And I think that when we look at this from Carl Jung's standpoint, this is where I want to bring in a deeper layer. The psychological and energetic foundation beneath all of this is Carl Jung's process of individuation. And he described this as the process by which a person becomes the individual that they inherently are meant to be. And it's not about necessarily becoming better, like that whole addiction that we have to self-improvement and whatnot that a lot of us have gone through, myself included. It's about becoming whole, which is one of the reasons why I think that unless you introduce some sort of spiritual component to your healing, I'm not sure that that can be achieved. And we're always healing per se, and we're always evolving. But this is like peeling back the layers of conditioning, societal, familial, and even spiritual, and integrating all those pieces of who you are, the shadow, the light, the voice that was silenced, the knowing that was dismissed, that little intuitive sense, right? Which is one of the main reasons why I like working with human design, because human design isn't a personality typing system. It's a blueprint for individuation. It shows you your energetic architecture, how you're designed to make decisions, how you best use your energy, how you relate to the world. And it doesn't tell you who to become. It reminds you who you've always been. It gives you that map to consider. It gives you something that most of us were not taught, a way to trust yourself again. So when I talk about Gate 51, and I'm zooming in on one point in the map, but the whole human design system is here to guide you back to inner authority, intuitive wisdom, and like a soul level self-trust, that ironclad self-trust. Because if you're going to walk the path of individuation, especially in these times, a map's pretty damn helpful. And human design gives you a pretty good damn map. Now, Gate 51 is in what they consider the heart center. It's not warm and fuzzy. It's very electric. It's courageous. It's disruptive. The person who came up with human design had he had Gate 51 in his personality sun, and he definitely was not warm and fuzzy. He was very disruptive. I mean, you can see from the language of some of the descriptions are kind of shocking. And in Gene Keys, the Gene Key 51, the shadow is agitation. It's life trying to wake you. And then you move to initiative, which is more about you choosing to move forward courageously. And then the Siddhic state is awakening and gives you that opportunity to notice where you have been sleeping before, right? And Gate 51, as I said, is my north node. And in human design, your north node is your growth point. It's the frequency you're here to lean into, evolve through, and ultimately embody for the collective. So when I talk about intuition through the lens of 51, I'm not speaking solely from theory. Like, I've lived through these shocks. I've resisted the shocks. I've misread the shocks. And I've also been, cracked in ways that I could not even imagine at the time, into a deeper trust and courage and, okay, let's get up again and face this. And the less I resist, the easier that gets. This gate really is about like a real strong radical initiation, and that's that spiritual nudge that turns anything into a shove when you ignore it. And in my younger years especially, I was very good at being very stubborn, and I'd like to think I'm getting better at saying, okay, you just have to nudge me, you don't have to smack me upside the head. Thank you very much, universe. So let's talk about what to actually do when your intuition calls. and how to know it's speaking in the first place. And one of the best ways to look at this, I think, from a human design lens, is to look at your authority. Like we talk about, like, one of the first things you hear out of somebody's mouth when they're talking about human design is strategy and authority, strategy and authority. So let's walk through the authorities and do this through the lens of 51 and the lens of intuition, and see what comes up. So when we are talking about emotional authority, and I have emotional authority, the thing about emotional authority is your clarity doesn't come in the moment of the shock necessarily. It comes over through time. You may get an immediate surge. I do, because I have a defined sacral and a defined splenic center. So I get intuition in multiple different ways. But my primary authority is like, I got to ride the wave. So you may get that immediate surge, excitement, fear, inspiration, anger, and it's really tempted to act on it right away. But the intuitive hit lies in the emotional wave. Let it rise, let it fall, then check in. Because you'll feel a calmness, an inner yes or no, when the intensity fades. So, example, you get invited to something big, a trip, a project, an opportunity. You get this emotional high at first. Oh, I'm going to do this thing. And then you wait 24 hours, 48 hours, and you're not so sure. Not so sure. Or you're still lit up about it. That's your intuition talking to you. Then we're going to move on to sacral authority. This is the gut check. This is sometimes the literal gut check. Like, you feel it deep in your belly. It's primal, it's visceral, it's instant. It's when the shock hits. Maybe you've been offered something unexpected or something collapses. Your intuition is your body saying, or It's that maybe no logic here. Your mind's going to try to interfere, but your gut is your truth. Example is you're asked to speak at an event and you feel a full body yes, even though you're terrified. That's the is that intuition guiding you forward through the fear. Now let's talk about splenic. So if you have splenic authority, yours is the quietest voice of all, and it's the fastest. It is a very subtle hit. It's a whisper, it's a shiver, it's a knowing. By the time you ask, was that my intuition? It's already gone. And gate 51 can really heighten this. When life throws you into the unexpected, your splenic wisdom, it speaks immediately, and then it's completely silent. And I think people with splenic authority also really benefit from, like, taking some time away from other people. And in my experience from people that I talk to, if they're really wrestling with something, they'll get another whisper. But again, it's very subtle. So, example is you meet someone new and immediately feel off, even though they seem lovely. Don't ignore that. That's your intuitive radar. But it is that whisper. And I do get splenic whispers too, because again, I have a very defined splenic center. So I totally get the whisper versus the smack upside the head that I get sometimes too. So I feel like for people with splenic, they struggle so much to trust themselves because it is so quiet. But as we get into the 5 ways to develop your intuition, pay attention to those, because there's some in there. There's some wisdom in there for you. So the next step is like ego heart authority. It's the intuition comes from your desire, not from necessarily like big egocentric, so to speak, but like, I want this, I want to follow through, And gate 51 shock can activate your will center, the ego center. But it's important to ask, do I truly have the energy to carry this out? And if your heart says yes, like I feel like with people with this particular authority type, like my hands automatically go to like heart center, and like I feel like your heart just wells a little bit when you really want to say yes. And when your intuition is really giving you a hit, I feel like, and I've had conversations with people who have this authority type, and they're like, yeah, I just sort of feel it in my heart center. That's your intuition. Example, after a life disruption, you feel this deep, steady urge to start something new. That's not impulsivity necessarily. That's powered by authentic desire. Now, the next self-projected authority. Your voice is your intuitive channel. When the shock hits, talk it out. You'll know what's true as you're saying it, not before. And the clarity lives in your words. And I think some people assume that this means that they have to talk to another human being. And yes, I think that can be helpful, depending on who you're talking to and if they can hold space for you. But not necessarily required. I mean, you could talk to a mirror, you could talk to a plant, you could talk to your pup or your cat. You just need to hear your voice so you can resonate with what's true for you, and listen to your voice for the tone and the words where your intuition is trying to come through. And then environmental authority, you're designed to process externally through a place and people. Your environment is very important. And that shock may throw you into chaos, but your intuition will land through witnessing your thoughts reflected back. So finding the right physical place and finding the right people to have conversations with, or maybe even just sitting with you. That's when the intuition is going to really start shining through. So an example might be you move to a new place or sit with a trusted sounding board, and suddenly your mind starts sorting itself. Clarity arises. And it's like you can observe it through time, over time. And then lunar authority, which is our reflectors out here. Reflectors are the only ones that have lunar authority. Again, it's all about the cycle for you. Your intuition reveals itself over time. It's not rushed. It's through watching. It's through sensing. It's about tracking patterns. And gate 51 shocks can feel super intense. But your wisdom is in the long range view. You know, a sudden invitation comes in, you're not sure, don't decide right now. Watch how it feels in your body across a cycle. And the answer will emerge. Now, it doesn't matter which authority you have. The one thing is I have found that it's inconsistent in all of them is when the knowing hits, like that knowing, it's coming when it's in the space in between. It's like a stillness that stops time. Now, there are 5 ways that I think to strengthen your intuition. It doesn't matter what your authority is. Number 1 is practice non-reactive presence. Now, before you're reacting to a situation, take a beat, take a pause, take a breath. This tiny gap gives your intuition space to surface before your conditioning kicks in. And over time, that pause is your access point to the truth. It's like a little tiny portal. Number 2, what is that? Follow subtle fascination. Like if something piques your curiosity, your intuition often speaks through what quietly lights you up. Notice what you're drawn to. A book, a conversation, a color, a place. That pull often isn't random. Most often, it's not random. It's your intuition leaving you tiny little breadcrumbs. And number 3, create stillness before you need it. Before you need it. You can't hear intuition when your nervous system is fried. You've got to learn how to build micro moments of quiet daily. Even at 3 minutes of silence, concentrated breath work, going out in nature. This is where the whisper of knowing can get much louder, and you have more often access to it. Number 4, honor the I knew it moments. Every time you look back, go, I knew that. Make a note. Make a physical note if you need to. These moments are confirmations. They're the breadcrumbs of your intuition proving that it's always been there. And it helps you strengthen that self-trust in yourself. Ask better questions. Number 5, instead of asking, what should I do? Try, what feels right in my body right now? If I already trusted myself, what would I do next? What would my future self thank me for? Ask better questions. So Gate 51 reminds us that the moments that break us open are also the moments that awaken us. And intuition is the soul's compass in the middle of any storm. So when shock comes, whether it's divine or disruptive, allow it to move through you in a way that you gain something for it. Like, let it be an initiation. You already know what to do. The question is, will you trust that knowing, that inner compass? So, thanks for being here. If this episode stirred something to you, share it with someone who's navigating life's challenges right now. And I look forward to connecting with you next week. Remember to find beauty every day and seek the magic in the mundane.